Are the other persons who have not spoken who would want to raise questions? We are moving to persons who were not scheduled and hence did not have opportunity. Mr. Paxton, we heard your presentation. No, it's not. It's an opportunity for those who were not scheduled to make statements. Would you please come to the podium? There is a videotaping being done of this hearing, and to make it convenient for that process, would you please come to the podium? Give us your name and any group or other identification.
My name is Vincent Hill.
Would you pick up the mic? Thank you.
My name is Vincent Hill, and I'm a member of this community. And I have a question. What will happen to the money that has already been invested into this breaking of the ground, and say if concrete has been poured, what is going to happen to the money that has already been spent right now for the groundbreaking of the school?
Mr. Bedford?
I can't say that all of the money will be lost. If you stop construction on the schools, as Mr. Cox has testified, it will cost you money in penalties. You'll have to pay the contractor penalties for stopping the construction. Our estimated cost right now for stopping this project and doing a redesign is approximately $3 million. Now that's stopping the construction and redesigning it into a smaller school.
Are there any others? Mrs. Mason?
I don't want to cut out a community person if there's still somebody.
Right. I see one further hand on the... Well, here's one in the center that hasn't spoken yet.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Edna Settle. My address is 1501 Erie Street, Southeast. I've been listening to all the comments made. I feel that I am the most physical being in this whole project. I am for the school. I have a small petition here, which many of my neighbors have signed, who are for the support of the school. I live right next door to the school. The district government has taken a part of my land for this school, and I certainly feel that this school should go up and be used for whatever educational purposes it can be used. We certainly need it all over Washington, and particularly in the far southeast area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dale?
Mr. Chairman, it seems to me that we're pretty much in agreement here. I believe the consensus, as far as I've been able to determine, indicates that we're not opposed to the school per se. Rather, in limiting the enrollment of the school and making other uses of it. I think Mr. Pearsall said that we have 25 schools under his jurisdiction that have 25,000 students. If we limit the enrollment of this school to 625, there's some possibility that we can reduce the enrollment in all the others by at least 25, which would seem to me to be in the realm of what he is undertaking to do, to reduce the enrollment of all schools and bring some sort of control of enrollment to the area and eventually work toward a more perfect situation. I strongly endorse this school on a multiple use basis.
Mr. Paxton. Yeah. Paxton, would you proceed? The matters discussed here will be referred to the Committee on Capital Outlay Projects chaired by Mr. Cassell, with time set for a report with recommendations to the Board of Education.
Mr. Chairman?
And the, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Crump? Yeah, well, I don't know. The President did not indicate what time schedule or frame would be indicated in the memo of referral to the committee. But let me say for the citizens here assembled that by consulting the Executive Secretary's office, when the report of the committee is considered by the board in whatever meeting, the date and time of that meeting can be obtained from the office of the Executive Secretary. With that
Mr. Chairman,
we declare
I had still one question, which
Mrs. Mason.
I don't think anybody from administration ever answered the question that Mr. Cassell raised, but didn't pause to get the answer to, and that was, at what stage is the construction now, as of today? They what? Concrete pillars?
Mr. Chairman.
All right, with that
What does that
question,
mean?
Mr. Bedford indicates that some concrete has been poured.
Mr. Chairman, would you?
Right.
I'd like to know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Means the basement's been
Cox?
laid.
Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Thank you. I declare the meeting adjourned.
Don't waste no time with you to do that.
People, you know, that brings up the people who are going. Hey, that's right. Kramer, how you doing? Good to see you again. What you into? Huh? Tell me something now. What made you people talk to me?
Museum. And we'd just like to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, we'd like to welcome you to Washington. And if we could just get you to turn around this way. Secondly, we'd like to ask you your opinion of this whole process tonight. How do you see it?
I think the people have legitimate concerns about the construction of the school in this area. And I think that these concerns center around the size of the school and the amount of play space that's available for the youngsters in the school. My fear is that we will confuse school size with quality education, and they are not synonymous. That you need different kinds of sizes for different kinds of students and different kinds of programs. That if you're talking about little children, for instance, a primary school, where you only have children in what we call preschool or daycare or kindergarten or grades 1 and 2, you're talking about a small school, maybe about 500. But if you're talking about a school that goes from kindergarten through grade 9, you're talking about a larger school, like 800 maybe. If you're talking about K-12, you're talking about 1,000. So it depends on what kind of school we're talking about. Now this school is designed for K-6 and 13, I think it was 1206 for children from K through 6. Now it would be my best estimate that if we were going to have that many students in the school, we should take it up to 8, make it a K-8 school. Now, when you do that, when you take it up to 8, then what you do is expand your multi-age, multi-level possibilities so that the children then have a different kind of control on each other than is possible in an elementary school where everybody's little.
Could you just speak to that multi-level concept for a couple of seconds?
See, one of the things that we don't do is to allow children the chance to grow and develop according to their own rates of growth, patterns of development. We stuff everybody who's 6 years old in grade and say he's in grade 1, you grow 10 months in 10 months. So the children there who grow 15 months in 10 months are limited, and those who grow only 5 months in 10 months are stigmatized. What we really need is a kind of grouping where children can grow at their own rates. Now, one of the ways we can do this is to just group children randomly in groups like families, and then let them study their skill areas together with children who may need the same skills. This is not as difficult as it sounds. It's just that when you get used to something, you like to hang on to it because you're familiar with it. And that's our problem. I'm hoping that we won't get ourselves in a box by saying that we only want schools of one size, because then this will limit our opportunities to design new school programs for our children. And I think that it would hurt our children in the long run, because what we would be saying is one size school is good for everybody.
One last question. I guess we had close to 200 people here tonight. And you have espoused a group or an organization that you call PACS, I believe, parents, administrators, teachers, and students. Can you just expand in terms of how you see that moving, if it seems like it's going to be a successful venture or whatever?
Yeah, one of the things already in the Anacostia area, you have the Anacostia School Board, which is already a start on PACS. And I think that this area will probably be one of the first to be developing along the lines of parents and administrators, community representatives, teachers and students working together to resolve problems.
So you see the school board as, the Anacostia School Board as somewhat symbolic of PACS?
A vantage point. I don't think there are any students on it yet, I don't think, or maybe no teachers, but I think that it's a vantage point to start.
Citywide, how do you see it developing?
Well, different strokes for different folks, and the areas are just different, and so.
Best of luck, and we'll be behind you.
Okay, thank you.
This is, kind of. We'd like to, first of all, congratulate you on your victory in the Ward 8 School Board election. And I guess you ought to introduce yourself.
Oh, well, my name is Julius Hobson Jr., and I just won the seat for Ward 8 DC School Board.
Okay, I guess the most logical question is, you sat through this process tonight of the Ward 8 School Board, the Board of Education hearing being held in Ward 8. You got a first-hand opportunity to kind of assess what goes down at these kinds of sessions, what are some of the things that you have in mind as far as Ward 8 is concerned from here on out?
I think that basically what we're going to have to be dealing with from now on in terms of building schools, in terms of school population, is the effect of housing in the area and the effect of transportation. For example, buses will take you out of Anacostia, but buses don't take you from one place to another place in Anacostia. The moratorium on apartments in the area, when are they going to start building houses in here, single-family dwellings to bring in people to help stabilize the community? One resident was talking about the fact that people do move out here. The fact that the median age for SAC 4 is age 23, which tells you there are a hell of a lot of young kids out here. So I think we're going to have to be looking at the total community before we make decisions on education, because it's going to be affected. The school system is going to be affected by everything that's done out here.
Okay, now how do you plan to assess the community's feelings and its ideas in terms of what it wants to see in the future? What process, have you developed a process for community involvement, or what?
Well, what we plan to do first is to have an area office, which has never been done before. We plan to have a Ward 8 office, hopefully in the old Congress Heights School. The phones will be installed in the office, and a phone will also be installed in my apartment, which will make me accessible to anybody for 24 hours a day. In addition, we hope to hold community meetings. These area boards will be good forums that get feelings for how people feel in the community about it in terms of what they want. It's unfortunate when Wilkerson School was started that there were no area boards at that time, but we'll learn from that, and we won't let that happen again. In terms of whether or not the community was really involved to an extent in the building of a school or in the changing of school boundaries.
If my memory serves me correct, one of your platform issues was vocational high schools or vocational schools. Can you speak to that a little bit in terms of updating of areas in which instruction is offered, as well as an expansion in general?
Well, what we hope to do, first of all, is to survey the 5th and 6th graders in elementary school and the junior high school students in terms of what they feel they want in terms of a vocation, other than perhaps going to college, which gives us a pretty good idea of what they really want. So we have to find out what the students want first. And then from there, we can begin to work on expansion of vocational education in the high schools in this city. I think it will be a long process. It's unfortunate, but it may take as long as 3 or 4 years before we can put together a program which will work. And again, as during the campaign, I use the example of a school they have in Dallas, Texas. It sits on 14 acres, and they've got an airplane hangar and an airplane, and just to give you an idea of what the students are learning about, they're taking that plane apart and putting it back together again. At the same time, they learned about an airplane hangar. Well, these are jobs that are going to be good in the future. We have to look at the DC manpower forecast for the 1970s and 80s in terms of what the needs are. The needs are for salespeople, for clerk typists, stenographers. These are jobs that require skills that don't require college. And if we can provide those skills in high school, then we can uplift the income of residents of Anacostia and of the whole city. At the same time, we can create an economic base of trained individuals in the District of Columbia.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Sign off.